most of the people in your life are not watching this video, are not on the same path as you. You're most likely further ahead spiritually than people in your life. And that requires you to have an even greater sense of humility and open-mindedness. Hey everybody, this video is dedicated to all you true spiritual junkies out there, because today I'm going to go deep on A Course in Miracles, also known as ACIM. And I'm going to describe what the course is. I'm going to give you the main point. And then at the end, I'm going to give you the two main qualities or ways of being that the course promotes us to be in order to live our most extraordinary life. And look, that's what this is. At the end of the day, all of these things that we read in development, growth, deep spirituality, religion, they're all meant to help us wake up to the real reasons why we're here, to find that life of flow, that life of joy, that life of peace. And in going through the Course in Miracles for the last year, now in my second go through of it, I can tell you that this has given me a sense of perspective and awareness that I haven't found in many other of the things that I've done. I've been a spiritual junkie for 20 years. I've traveled all over the world. I've done all kinds of medicines. I've done every program you can imagine. I've sat in silent retreats for probably 60 days. I've spent more money on my own growth and development than most people that I know. Yet this course has given me some really profound results. And I want to be able to really share these with you and give you the main points. So it's a hard task because the course is very large, but I'm going to do my very best. The Course in Miracles is a book that was dictated to a Columbia professor in the mid-1970s, 1976. And she and her colleague, another professor at Columbia, were having some problems, like all of us, in their lives and in their work. And they were just wondering if there was another way. Soon after this inquiry, Helen started to have a voice in her head dictate to her a series of ideas and perspectives, which Bill, her partner, then began to jot down. And this became a body of work known as the Course in Miracles. And this transmission that was coming from Helen later was revealed that it was the essence of Jesus Christ. So this is really the Jesus Christ message encapsulated in a very direct teaching about how we should live our lives. And the course and the books went underground for a bunch of years, and people found it and loved it, but gained immense popularity in the 1990s when Marianne Williamson, the spiritual teacher, author, and also presidential candidate, went on the Oprah Winfrey show to talk about it. And then millions of people have since engaged with the course. And by the way, if you like this video, click the like button so I know, and I'll make more of them. And if you have any questions around this particular topic of A Course in Miracles, or you've done it yourself, please share a comment below. I would love to hear what your impressions are. Now, a couple of caveats about The Course in Miracles before we begin is that it is written in and dictated through Helen, a very religious / Christian voice. So it's a lot of God, it's a lot of Christ, it's a lot of the Son, it's a lot of the Holy Spirit. So there's a lot of religious undertones in here, which can turn some people off. I tend to be somebody that lets go of those attachments to dogma just so I can find what the message is. Because I really believe that all of these great wisdom traditions at their core have a message that can help us. And a lot of it has gotten obscured because of the judgment, the fear, the anger, and all the wars and hatred and killing that have happened in the name of God and religion over the years, which is a topic for another video. But when we're going into something like this, try to go into it really open-minded without getting attached to the actual words that they're using. And what I found is that behind that, there's something there that's really true that can really help us. And I really found that level of truth and clarity in A Course in Miracles. Now, the course itself consists of 3 books. The main book is called The Text, which is like a 700-page book, which gives the whole philosophy. Then there's the workbook, which is a daily practice. So every day they took out a key practice, 365 of them, that we are instructed to as students of the course to be able to practice one of them each day. And then the third is called the Manual for Teachers, which was an addendum that was created for those of you who want to take this message and share it with more people. So there's 3 main books. What I'm covering here is the text, the main points in the text, which really gives you the overarching philosophy. and I'll give you the main practices. So does the course create miracles? I mean, that has a great name. For you marketers out there, A Course in Miracles is a good name. Who doesn't want a miracle in their lives? And they spend a lot of time having us reframe what a miracle actually means. What the course is for me is a method of mental reprogramming the way that we see ourselves and our place in the world. And it's a very, very direct teaching and how we can learn to disidentify and detach from our exclusive attachment to this identity, me as Todd Jason, you as insert your name, that is separate from the greater unfolding, as they call in the course, God, that we are all a part of. And so the course is a process of reprogramming yourself to see how the ego, and that's the term that they use in the book, which is really just that part of us which has forgotten and separated from the overarching truth, which is that we really are all one and connected. In the awareness of learning to let go and detach from the ego and open ourselves up to this more universal, Christ-like, God-like energy flow in us, we start to experience a life of flow and meaning that has embedded in it the notion of miracle. And so things do actually happen once we let go of our own exclusive identity with this. And that's really at the very core of A Course in Miracles, is this framing of the universal flow, this creative impulse of God, which created this whole experience. And then we individuated at a very young age, separated from mentally our connection with that which always is and was. And of course, this message is common in all the great wisdom traditions. I'm also going through right now the Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu, the basis of Taoism, which at the core has the same message. They call it the Tao. And really what the essence of it is that there's this energy that is expansive and immersive that we are just a part of. And the energy of God, of creation, just wants to explore. And all the ideas and the stories and the limitations and the fears that we have as individuals can easily be removed once we're able to reprogram ourselves with the awareness on a consistent basis that all that doesn't matter. And that's at the very essence of A Course in Miracles. And what I love so much about this text is the direct stance they have between ego, that which is all forgetfulness, and connection and God and universal flow. Several times in the book, they say you can't have both, meaning you can't have a little bit of ego and then all of God. You have to make a decision. The Course is guiding you. The Course is pushing you to be able to let go and detach yourself from all the egoic stuff, all the wantings, all the yearnings, all the limitations, so we can fall into the lap of this more universal energy force. Guys, if you're liking what you're hearing, click the like button and share a comment. It's really helpful for me to hear, and I would love to understand your impressions of what I'm sharing here. As I was going through this course, what I started to notice from reading the text and doing the daily practices was my recognition of my fear and my limitation and everything that would be considered ego started to become really strong. And I started to notice this nervous pain in my stomach every single time that I was checked out of my connection with that which is not me. One of the things that I was prompted to do while going through the course was walk around in my neighborhood and just look at my hands and feel my feet and remind myself by talking out loud that I didn't create this. I didn't create Todd. I didn't create my identity. I didn't create my name. I didn't create my height or my hair color or my skin color. I didn't create my beating heart. So there's this remembrance that everything that's emerging within us isn't really in our control. And what I found by going through this process is that behind all of that ego stuff, there's this more primal, beautiful energy that just has our back, that just wants us to succeed and have abundance and flow in our lives. Part of what we need to do is to learn to trust that. And once we do, that's when the miracles begin to happen. And you already know this. You've had these moments where you've been able to let go of all the things that weren't helping and fully find some flow and serendipity. And that's what this course is reprogramming us to do. Once I became really aware of the feeling of ego within me, I was able to more immediately breathe with it and see it for what it was, just some idea bubble that actually had no meaning. So constantly being able to feel in your body when that ego is taking over. It's usually a feeling of anxiety or stress. It could be a pain in your head. What I began to realize is that every idea that my ego has, every push, every want, every yearning, every obscuration that my ego focuses on, how much money I have, my relationship status, how I look, all these things that are ego related never served me. And I really started to see that everything that is ego related has held me back and has not allowed me to be free, has not allowed my true self to shine through. It's been obscured and forgotten. And the reason why is that the stories that we tell ourselves about who we should be, what success really is, what attractiveness really is, what true abundance is not really what it is. And we know it. It's never gotten us to where we needed to be. And so I got hit in the face with this where I was like, wow, like everything that my ego has done has not helped me, which then allowed me to gently turn over to this other side, the more universal flow, and be like, all right, I'm open. Okay. And I need help. And in the course, they instruct you that the body and the voice and the thinking are really just modes of communication with the divine spirit, with God, with the universe. That the only game in town is to be able to let go of everything that is ego related and to surrender into this more universal flow. That there's nothing else that we need to be focusing on. Another meditation that I did a lot during this process, and I still do it, is seeing myself as a completely empty vessel. And all of my ideas and my structures, which really never ends, just all of the mental limitations that come up, are just little blips in the matrix. And I am completely empty. And I'm using my method of communication, my intention to be open, to connect with my version of God in the universe, and to really call him or her into me and give over control. It requires us to really believe that this is possible. And I met my disbelief of this often, and I still meet it. Meaning that we have to have a belief that there is some version of universal flow or God or the creative impulse that you believe has your back, that created all of this. And we need not look anywhere but going out in nature to see that. If you go out into nature and you look at trees and the ground and birds and animals, and you start to get perspective on our planet and our universe, none of this was created by us as humans. We are these little tiny things, yet we think we control all this, and we're so cut off from this idea of something greater than us. But we have to believe that. For me, it was a little bit of fake it till you make it, because I wasn't born to believe in God. I didn't grow up in that type of family or environment, and really discovered this practice much later on in my life. But I really started to turn to this notion. And I got to tell you, doing this has really made me feel more secure, more trusting, more at peace, because I have something that has my back. Instead of running around this planet by myself, trying to make my way, which has never really worked, trying to manipulate and to deceive and to do all these things to get ahead and to prove myself and my identity is worthy. By letting that go and turning back to this idea that I am just an unfolding that actually has nothing to do with me and my ideas, I allow and call in and communicate to this energy, to this force of God to come through me and use my empty vessel. And I let go of all the ideas and attachments I have about myself. This is the goal of all of the great wisdom traditions, all the great meditation practices, all the great religions at their core are shaking us up to remind us that we are not what we think we are, that all the things that we focus on have just brought us pain and suffering and limitation. And over here, if you would just shift your gaze and learn to reprogram your mind and your thinking to think with more optimism and more trust and more faith in something greater than yourself, miracles happen. So the last piece is really important, and it's what I want to leave you with today. It's the two master practices that I found in A Course in Miracles by really studying this on a daily basis and going through it for a long period of time. And the first is forgiveness, that our purpose is to be forgiving beings, self-forgiving, forgiveness of others. Because as you're going through this process and you become so aware of your ego and all the limitation and fear, you start to see that everyone else in your life is dealing with the same thing. And guess what? Most of the people in your life are not watching this video, are not on the same path as you. You're most likely further ahead spiritually than people in your life. And that requires you to have an even greater sense of humility and open-mindedness. And it opens you up to the incredible quality of empathy, where you can then look at the people in your life and be like, you're struggling just like me. In fact, you're struggling more than me, because you're not finding, you're not searching, you're not curious about the greater story that we're all embroiled in. So forgiveness is the way, according to A Course in Miracles, meaning that our entire focus on each day and each moment should be one of forgiveness. One of the great passages in the Bible is the meek shall inherit the earth, which is another way of saying forgiveness, meekness. It's not powerlessness. It's actually the source of great power to be able to let go of ourselves and open ourselves up to forgiveness and the notion that this place, this life that we have is pretty special. It's pretty random. It's not really in my control. And I forgive you. I forgive you people. I forgive you mom and dad. I forgive you family. I forgive you countries. I forgive you cultures. I forgive you hate, crime, all the things out there. I forgive you. And that's what the call here is, to walk around as forgiveness, to end the attack, to end the hate that exists in our hearts as ego, and pull ourselves over to that open-minded, loving, kind self, which is always going to win. It's always going to be our higher selves. And the second quality is that of trust. And this is the big one for me and for a lot of us, the quality of developing the trust that this is real, because the ego can't see it. Even as you're watching this video, how many thoughts of judgment or doubts have popped up from the things that I'm saying? It's normal. Like, who is this guy? Like, what is he even talking about? He doesn't say it well, or I don't really believe that. We're constantly judging and negative. And so the call here is to trust that there really is another way, that there really does exist this much grander force of God, of the universe. Can't see, we can't touch, we can only know, we can only sense into it. And our life's purpose is to connect with that and develop that trust in it by reprogramming ourselves every single day, every single moment, even in our sleep, to connect with it. And I really believe that's the greatest thing that we can do spiritually, is to let go of everything that is ego and move all the way over into trust and allow it. And it's scary at times, because there are challenges that you're having right now, which are very real, and you want solutions to them. You need solutions to them. And so the test that the universe gives us is this notion of letting go and trusting that God has our back and can solve these problems if we would just let go everything that has obscured that connection, and the miracles happen.